Venom The Last Dance, the final Tom Hardy Venom film. And I specifically say Tom Hardy Venom film because one, we have a new Venom coming to the MCU, but two, knowing Sony, they will probably try to reboot Venom in their Spider-Man universe in some way, shape, or form. But the details that we've heard about Venom 3 make that rather hard to do. So a lot of fans are really wondering, what exactly is Venom 3 going to set up? What is it exactly going to end? And does Sony really have a plan? Hopefully we'll figure some of that out with the release of the first teaser trailer for Venom The Last Dance, which we do have a new report about today. And what's really interesting is that some fans talking about the trailer are talking about the end of the Sony Spider-Man universe and how they really do hope this is actually the end of it. But the really cool thing is that the Venom franchise really is an outlier from all of the other Spider-Man material that Sony has released. It really is quite good if you compare it to movies like Morbius and Madam Web. The Venom movies are actually good compared to those films. Now, however, they're not amazing films, according to the fans, but they are fun. They are enjoyable to watch. And right now, we're just hoping that Tom Hardy's Venom goes out with a bang. And hopefully this isn't actually the last time that we'll see him, but hopefully we see him in Avengers Secret Wars. We'll talk about that and the Spider-Man setup that Venom 3 is going to have in the film in this video. Now, according to the insider Cryptic HD Quality, who has a really good track record of telling us when trailers come out, according to them, we are getting the trailer for Venom 3, The Last Dance, next week. And this lines up with how Sony does things, and just kind of studios in general. Bad Boys Ride or Die comes out next week on June 5th. It hits theaters, and it makes sense that Sony would want the trailer for Venom The Last Dance to play in those theaters before people go and see Bad Boys Ride or Die. The Bad Boys franchise has been pretty successful, so they're counting on a lot of people to go see this next week and over the weekend next weekend. So hopefully they can get as many eyes on this trailer as possible and try to get the hype up for it. Now, what's interesting about this is this news is circulating on the internet right now, and fans aren't really worried about Venom The Last Dance. They feel like it's going to be pretty on par with the other Venom films that we've gotten so far, but a lot of fans are actually talking about Kraven. You see, here's the deal. A lot of Spider-Man fans, a lot of Venom fans, and other characters related to Spider-Man and Venom, fans of those characters, are actually hoping that Sony does fail. Not necessarily Venom, but Kraven, which is the interesting part. A lot of people don't want Venom to fail, but a lot of people are stating that hopefully Kraven is kind of the last thing that we get from Sony for their Spider-Man universe. Why are they hoping this? Because they want Kraven to be a bad movie? Not necessarily. They kind of just want Spider-Man to go back to the MCU, and all of these characters, including Venom and Kraven the Hunter, they want these characters to be in the MCU, and they want Sony to stop butchering them. It's pretty much as simple as that. It's not that they have any animosity towards Kraven the film itself. I mean, we haven't even seen it yet. We just rather have these Spider-Man related characters in films that have Spider-Man in them. And some fans are actually hoping that Venom The Last Dance doesn't do too well because of what they are planning to set up in the film. Now, Chris and I talked about this last week, kind of briefly in our podcast, but we'll dive a little bit more in depth right now. As far as we know right now, the current plot for Venom The Last Dance will involve a 10-year-old Peter Parker. There were rumors / leaks about this before, but now it seems like this is indeed what is going to happen. Chris from 3C Films was sent a survey that some people were filling out for Venom The Last Dance. Now, when they do these surveys, they don't exactly say what the movie is, but considering what they were describing, it was pretty obvious. So what the studios do is they give people a brief plot synopsis of the film, and then they give them a survey of what they think about it, how they feel about it, etc. And they use names in there like Venom, Peter Parker, so it's pretty easy to figure it out. And I've been sent these surveys before too, and they do end up being accurate unless the studio decides to completely change everything based upon the feedback that they got for these surveys. But as of right now, this is their plan, to include a 10-year-old Peter Parker in Venom The Last Dance. And this is riffing off of the post-credit scene that we got for Venom Let There Be Carnage and Spider-Man No Way Home. After figuring out who Peter Parker / Spider-Man is, Venom will use his hive mind to determine that Venom, the symbiote, and its host, Eddie Brock, are destined to be killed by Spider-Man in the future. And Venom basically decides that in order to prevent the death of both of them, they have to find a young Peter Parker now and kill him before he becomes Spider-Man and before he ultimately goes on to kill the two of them. Here's the catch though, at the time they don't know that Peter Parker is a 10-year-old boy, because remember, they were in another universe where they saw Spider-Man. But in a big FU to all of us, in Spider-Man No Way Home, Venom and Eddie Brock were sent back to the Sony universe. So they're expecting an 18-year-old, 19-year-old Peter Parker, but when they go and find the Peter Parker of their universe, he is only 10 years old. And of course, Eddie Brock has second feelings about killing a 10-year-old. They expose him to a bunch of spiders in which he gets bit and has an allergic reaction. He does not become Spider-Man. It's not the spider, but he has an allergic reaction, and Eddie Brock ends up taking him to the hospital. And for the rest of the movie, they actually have to protect and defend Peter Parker from the main villain Toxin and some other villains as well. That is the gist of Venom The Last Dance. So the big question is, what exactly is Sony setting up here with the 10-year-old Peter Parker? Is this their way of kind of restarting after Venom? Because Venom's gone after this film. We know it's Tom Hardy's final movie. He has publicly stated that, and after all, the movie is called The Last Dance, confirming this is Tom Hardy's last Venom movie in the Sony Spider-Man universe of Marvel characters, if we're even still calling it that. But adding a 10-year-old Peter Parker doesn't really make too much sense unless they're planning for that Peter Parker to eventually go on and become an adult Peter Parker and Spider-Man in this universe. So that's the big question. Is that what we are heading to? A kind of reboot of the Sony Spider-Man universe? Well, a lot of people have been stating online that this is not what they want to happen. They don't want a reboot or a continuation for that matter, because they could simply continue their universe and simply jump forward to the future and have Spider-Man grow up and be an adult Peter Parker, or at least an 18-year-old Peter Parker, and then just use him as the main Spider-Man. The problem is there's a lot of issues with this, especially continuity issues. For one, you probably couldn't ever use Venom, at least not Eddie Brock, as the Venom host in this universe again. And if you do, you can't use Tom Hardy because he's done after this, and he most likely will be in the MCU for Avengers Secret Wars as well. Plus, not to mention, we know the Venom symbiote is going to be in Spider-Man 4 and Avengers Secret Wars, and this is going to be a different one than Tom Hardy's. We're going to have a new one for the MCU. So on top of that, if Sony decided to do another Venom in their universe with another Spider-Man, this just gets way too messy for the casual viewers. The superfans like us can obviously keep up, but even to us, it's still a continuity mess. So this is why a lot of fans are just kind of hoping that after Kraven the Hunter, it's just done. Sony stops. However, I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think Sony is going to want to lose the rights to Spider-Man and all of the characters that they own. So unfortunately, I think that means that they continue their Spider-Man universe in some way, shape, or form. They might not really even have a plan right now, but hopefully if they do plan on continuing their Spider-Man universe, they do get a plan very soon. And if it's to build off of a 10-year-old Peter Parker, I hope the multiverse comes into play in some way, shape, or form that allows a new Venom to come in, because not having a Venom in their Spider-Man universe would suck. It is sad to see Tom Hardy's Venom / Eddie Brock leave. It is sad. The movies have been genuinely fun, even if they haven't been that amazing. And I'm also really looking forward to seeing Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock in the MCU. Hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully he appears in Avengers Secret Wars. But let me know what you think about this, and be sure to look out for the official trailer for Venom 3: The Last Dance next week. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you can stay up to date on the MCU and the Sony Spider-Man universe as well. You can find the links to our other social media platforms in the pinned comment, as well as the information about our giveaway for a chance to win a PS5 or Xbox Series X. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.